In the late 1980s, Mark Winger found himself on a blind date with a coworker of his brother. Her name was Donna. Donna worked as a hospital tech, and Mark was a well-respected nuclear engineer. As they embarked on their blind date, Mark and Donna quickly discovered that they hit it off. It wasn't long before they became an official couple. After 6 months of dating, Mark decided to propose to Donna, and she happily accepted. On March 4th, 1989, Mark and Donna tied the knot in a grand wedding ceremony in Hollywood, Florida. The newlyweds celebrated their love and union in front of their friends and family. Following the ceremony, Mark and Donna stayed in Florida, where they enjoyed their time as newlyweds. However, after a few years, they decided to move to Springfield, Illinois. In Springfield, Mark and Donna built a new life together. They settled down and focused on their career and family. Donna and Mark were deeply committed to having children and were devastated when they discovered that Donna was unable to have them. Mark's dream of having a big family was shattered, and he found it difficult to accept. However, 6 years into their marriage, things took a surprising turn. In June 1995, while Donna was working in the operating room, a doctor approached her with a life-changing proposition. The doctor informed Donna that he had encountered a teenage mother who wanted to adopt her baby. He said the mother asked if he knew of anyone who would be a suitable candidate for adoption, and without hesitation, the doctor's mind immediately went to Donna and Mark. When Donna went home and shared the doctor's suggestion with Mark, they immediately knew they wanted to adopt the baby. The decision was not made lightly, as they recognized the immense responsibility and challenges that come with adoption. However, their love for children and desire to provide a loving home for a child in need outweighed any hesitations. Donna and Mark brought their newborn baby girl, Bailey, home from the hospital, and from the moment she arrived, Donna and the baby formed a strong bond. It was evident from the beginning that Donna's maternal instincts were in full swing, and she seemed to thrive as a mother. On the other hand, Mark was full of excitement and anticipation as he prepared for his new role as a father. Together, the Winger family appeared picture-perfect, resembling an all-American family with their loving and nurturing bond. To support Donna in her new role as a mother, her close friend Deanne Schultz regularly stopped by to offer her assistance. Deanne, whom Donna had befriended while working at the hospital, proved to be an invaluable source of support and guidance. She would often lend a hand in caring for Bailey, allowing Donna to take a much-needed break. In the summer of 1996, Donna and baby Bailey embarked on a journey to Florida to visit Donna's parents. Donna was eager to showcase her daughter and introduce her to her side of the family. To ensure a smooth journey, Donna's parents arranged to have a driver pick her up from the airport after her trip and take her back home. This arrangement was made to allow Donna to fully focus on Bailey and not have to worry about the 2-hour drive. As they embarked on the journey home, the driver began a conversation with Donna. In his confession, the driver revealed that he had been hearing a voice in his head that kept saying bad things. However, more recently, he claimed that the voice was telling him to hurt people by setting up a car bomb. Donna was alarmed by this revelation and found herself questioning the driver's sanity. Furthermore, the driver disclosed that he had a penchant for older women. He also revealed that he would host raunchy parties and invite Donna to join him. These revelations further raised alarm bells for Donna as she became increasingly concerned about the man's intentions. As the drive continued, the driver's behavior became increasingly erratic. He frequently switched lanes and accelerated at unexpected speeds. Throughout the ride home, Donna's mind raced with thoughts of the driver's alarming revelations and unsettling behavior. She couldn't help but wonder if she should trust the man behind the wheel with her and Bailey's safety. The journey home became an even more nerve-wracking experience, with Donna constantly on guard and praying for a safe return home. When Donna got home with Bailey, she was relieved. However, the experience had left her shaken. She called her sister, who offered her reassurance and told her to forget about the traumatic car ride. Despite the reassurance, Donna couldn't shake the feeling of unease. She began receiving strange phone calls, and suspecting that the caller was the driver, Mark called the car company and filed a complaint. As a result, the driver, Roger Harrington, was suspended from his job. Mark had Donna write down what happened, ensuring they had documentation if needed. On August 29, 1996, Mark Winger placed a call to 911, frantically reporting that a man had entered his home and begun assaulting his wife, Donna. In his distressed state, Mark exclaimed that Donna's brains were scattered everywhere. He informed the dispatcher that he had shot the attacker in self-defense. Within minutes, the Springfield Police Department arrived at Donna and Mark Winger's residence. Upon entering through the front door, the officers observed two bodies lying on the floor. Although Donna was still alive, she barely clung to life. She had been brutally struck at least 7 times in the head, causing severe injuries. Beside Donna's body, the officers discovered another man lying motionless. Upon closer examination, they found that the man had a faint pulse and had suffered 2 gunshot wounds to the head. Further investigation revealed that the man's driver's license identified him as Roger Harrington. As Donna and Roger Harrington were taken to the hospital by ambulance, the police arrived at the scene to investigate. Upon examining the area, they discovered a hammer covered in blood and a .45 caliber semi-automatic handgun. Furthermore, on the kitchen table, the police noticed a yellow coffee mug and a pack of cigarettes. Outside the victim's home, the police observed Roger Harrington's car parked in the opposite direction. Inside Roger's vehicle, the police discovered a note which read, "Mark Winger, 4:30 p.m." The letter included Donna and Mark's address. A homicide detective arrived at the scene and met with Mark Winger in the master bedroom of his house. Mark was visibly upset and emotional, continuously asking who the attacker was. While the detective knew that the person responsible was Roger Harrington, he decided to withhold this information for the time being. Mark eventually calmed down enough to tell the detective what had happened. According to Mark, he was working out on his treadmill in the basement when he heard a loud commotion. Concerned, he went to investigate and saw something that seemed off. Mark peered into the master bedroom and discovered that their daughter, Bailey, was lying unattended on the bed. Bailey being alone raised his suspicions as he knew that his wife, Donna, would never leave their child unattended. Continuing his investigation, Mark heard noises coming from the direction of the kitchen. Determined to protect his family, Mark retrieved his gun from the nightstand and walked down the hallway. What he found was a terrifying sight: a strange man attacking Donna with a hammer. The man looked up, made eye contact with Mark, and continued striking Donna with the hammer. Mark, in response, took matters into his own hands and shot the man in self-defense. Although the man fell backward after being shot, the man managed to get back up. This movement caught Mark off guard, and he decided to take action once again. He fired another shot at the man. After the incident, Mark had a conversation with the detective in which he sought clarification on the identity of the man who had been beating Donna. The detective confirmed that the man was indeed Roger Harrington. Upon hearing the detective's confirmation, Mark expressed his shock and disbelief. He exclaimed, "Oh my God, that's the man who had been harassing my wife." As the detective searched Mark and Donna's home, he discovered a note written by Donna describing her terrifying drive home from the airport with Roger Harrington. The detective was already familiar with Roger Harrington, who owned a trailer park in the town. Roger and his wife resided there and often encountered domestic disputes. It made sense to the detective that Roger, enraged after losing his job, would retaliate by returning to Donna and Mark's home and causing violence. The detective reasoned that Mark, in the face of danger, would ultimately have no choice but to shoot Roger in self-defense. After conducting a thorough examination of the scene of the crime and hearing Mark's explanation, the police concluded that the shooting was an act of self-defense. As a result, the case was closed and Mark was exonerated. After Donna's funeral, her mother and sister stayed behind in Illinois to help take care of her newborn baby, Bailey. During that time, they noticed Mark acting strangely. He was consuming excessive amounts of alcohol and immersing himself in violent and disturbing movies, despite having recently undergone a traumatic event. By December 1995, Donna's family could no longer sustain the demands of traveling back and forth between their homes to assist Mark with caring for the baby. As a result, they proposed to Mark that he hire a nanny. Mark eventually agreed to the idea and hired a woman named Rebecca. who stood out due to her stunning appearance and kind demeanor. Rebecca was a tall, blonde woman who exuded warmth and compassion. She eagerly took on the responsibility of caring for Bailey and promptly began removing all the items the infant required. Donna's family felt reassured by Rebecca's presence, knowing their baby was in good hands. After showing Rebecca the ropes, Donna's family decided to return home, content that Bailey was being well taken care of by Rebecca. Rebecca and baby Bailey formed a strong bond rather quickly. There were nights when Rebecca and Mark would stay up late, drinking wine and engaging in deep conversations. However, there was one issue that arose. Donna's best friend, Deanne Schultz, expressed a strong desire to be a part of Bailey's life. However, Rebecca felt uncomfortable when Deanne seemed to push excessively to be involved in their child's life. Rebecca believed that Deanne was attempting to take over Donna's role. When Rebecca mentioned Deanne's strange behavior to Mark, he explained that Deanne was still grieving the loss of Donna. He said Deanne's actions were driven by a deep sense of loss and a desire to fill the void left behind by her friend's death. Mark believed Deanne's intentions were good, but she was still struggling to come to terms with the tragedy that had unfolded. Mark filed a lawsuit against the BART Transportation Company, alleging that the company was liable for the murder of Donna. The lawsuit was filed under a claim of wrongful death, seeking justice and compensation for the loss of Donna. In January 1996, Mark contacted the detective working on Donna's case and asked about its status. Mark specifically inquired about the possibility of retrieving his gun, which he had recently surrendered to the authorities. However, sensing something off about Mark, the detective felt uneasy during their conversation. There were certain aspects of the crime scene that raised doubts in the detective's mind about the true nature of events that led to Donna's death. Mark and Rebecca's relationship took a romantic turn, and they began dating. When Mark met Rebecca's brother, he decided to share a story about a tragic incident involving the murder of his wife, Donna. However, as Mark relayed the story, Rebecca's brother became uncomfortable. Mark's account of the murder seemed to focus more on his abilities and achievements rather than the tragic loss of Donna. Instead of conveying a sense of sorrow and empathy, Mark boasted about his heroic actions and how he saved the day with his gun. Rebecca's brother thought this strange, as it was not the appropriate time to boast about ego and achievements while discussing such a horrific event. It seemed to Rebecca's brother that Mark was primarily interested in promoting himself and capitalizing on Donna's death, rather than honoring her memory and reflecting on the impact of the tragedy. Shortly after Rebecca and Mark started dating, Rebecca discovered she was pregnant. This news was met with joy and excitement from both Rebecca and Mark, as they were thrilled to welcome another baby into the world. Mark was determined to show Rebecca how serious he was about their relationship and marriage, and he decided to take action. Mark, who was Jewish, knew that this decision would significantly impact both their lives. However, he decided it was important to convert to Christianity to demonstrate his commitment to Rebecca and their future family. Mark believed that embracing a new religion would show his willingness to make sacrifices for their relationship. 14 months after Donna's murder, Rebecca and Mark decided to elope in Hawaii. They decided to keep the news a secret, not wanting to burden their loved ones with the additional stress of a wedding so soon after the tragic death of Donna. This decision hurt Donna's family deeply, as they couldn't believe that Mark could have replaced Donna so quickly. In December 1996, Mark sold his and Donna's house and built a new home for himself and Rebecca in the country. They purchased a piece of land with a pond in the backyard, which became a special place for the family to play and enjoy time together. Mark would often go fishing in the pond while the rest of the family enjoyed spending time together. Over the years, Mark and Rebecca went on to expand their family, welcoming 3 children together. However, as time went on, the couple started to pull away from Donna's family. This separation was difficult for Donna's mother and sisters. On one occasion, Donna's parents decided to visit Mark in their new home. While they were visiting, they wanted to present Bailey with a necklace that had belonged to Donna. They put the necklace around Bailey's neck. However, Mark denied the request, insisting they remove the necklace from the baby. This incident further strained the relationship between the families. In their attempts to reconcile, Donahaw's parents reached out to Mark in a letter, expressing their concerns and desire for reunification. However, Mark responded with a letter stating that Bailey could no longer refer to Donahaw's mother as Grandma. Despite the strained relationship, Donna's family continued to show their love for Bailey by sending her a card every year for her birthday. Deanne Schultz, Donna's best friend, revealed to the police in February 1999 a secret she had been keeping. She confessed that she had been having an affair with her close friend Donna's husband, Mark, prior to Donna's murder. According to Deanne, Mark had made incriminating statements indicating that it would be more convenient for both of them if Donna were to pass away. However, Deanne rejected participating in Mark's plan, stating that she refused to have anything to do with a murder. On the day of Donna's murder, Mark contacted Deanne and asked, "Would you still love me when I have done something wrong?" Deanne replied, "Yes, I would." After Donna was murdered, Deanne and Mark continued their affair for about 6 months after Donna's death. However, they eventually broke up when Mark started dating Rebecca. After the murder and the life changes that occurred, Deanne experienced a difficult time. She attempted to take her own life on several occasions, struggling to cope with the aftermath of what had happened. Her life was turned upside down, and she struggled with the weight of her secret and Donna's murder. The detective was reviewing the evidence in Donna's murder case, as he had suspicions about Mark. However, he could not locate the box containing evidence related to Donna's case. The detective eventually discovered that the evidence had been released to Mark's attorney as part of a civil lawsuit against BART Transportation for wrongful death. When the detective finally obtained the evidence, he noticed several suspicious things. Firstly, there was no forced entry into the house, which raised questions about Roger Harrington's involvement. Why was a yellow coffee mug belonging to Roger found in Donna's home? If Roger intended to kill Donna, why would he bring that inside? Additionally, Roger's cigarettes were on the kitchen table, raising questions about why he would bring those into her home. Furthermore, the detective observed that the items found in Roger's car could be potential weapons. He had items such as a tire iron wrapped in tape and a knife, which could have been used to harm Donna and Mark. However, if Roger had intended to commit murder, it raises questions as to why he would choose to enter the home and use a hammer that was on the kitchen table, instead of utilizing the weapons he had in his car. After Donna's murder, Roger's family insisted that Roger was not a troublemaker and that he was a good person. The detective began to explore the possibility that Mark had the motive to eliminate Donna, and when Donna came home with the story of the erratic car service driver, Mark saw an opportunity. Evidence gathered in the case included 3 Polaroid pictures. One of the initial officers who arrived at the scene had a camera in his possession. He took photos of the scene that depicted the positions of Donna and Roger's bodies before they were taken to the hospital. The detective was unaware that these pictures existed. The positions of Donna and Roger's bodies in the photos did not align with Mark's versions of events. Mark claimed that he shot Roger, and the latter fell back with his feet remaining near Donna's head. However, the photo showed Roger's head in the same position as Donna. This discrepancy raised suspicions and cast doubt on Mark's version of events. In September 1999, a detective approached Donna's mother and informed her of their suspicions that Mark was responsible for her daughter's murder. Donna's mother was taken aback, as she found it hard to believe that Mark could have done such a thing. However, the news brought relief to Roger's family, as they were hopeful that the detectives would work diligently to clear Roger's name. A friend of Roger's approached the police in 1991 when Donna was murdered, and then again in 1999, with information that could exonerate him. According to this friend, she was with Roger when someone called him, prompting Roger to jot down Donna and Mark's address. This piece of information led the police to believe that Roger may not have been the killer, but rather someone lured to his death. The detective began to entertain the notion that Roger may not have been directly involved in the murder, but rather someone who was deceived and manipulated by another party, most likely Mark Winger. On August 23, 2001, as the investigation into Donna's murder continued, the police conducted surveillance on Mark and Rebecca's home. However, Mark became suspicious and confronted the officers. He told them to leave him and his family alone and to stop following him. Meanwhile, as the police surveilled Mark's home, a grand jury meeting was deliberating. Little did he know that his fate would soon be sealed. A short while later, the grand jury indicted Mark for the murder of Roger and Donna. This indictment meant a formal charge against him, and a warrant was issued for his arrest. The police received word that Mark was at work and promptly made their way to the location. They called out Mark's name as they arrived, and he emerged from the building with his hands up. Mark realized that he had been caught and surrendered to the authorities. During this entire ordeal, Rebecca stood by her husband, Mark. She believed in his innocence and was determined to support him through this difficult time. Being 6 years old, Bailey, their daughter, witnessed the events as they unfolded. However, as time went on, Rebecca's support for her husband waned as she began to see the truth. Mark's trial began in May 2002. The state sought to prove Roger Harrington went to the Winger home for a meeting and not to commit murder. His attorney argued that Roger had a mental illness and had exhibited erratic behavior, raising doubts about his mental state and the possibility of committing murder. However, the state believed that Mark had lured Roger to the house for a meeting to address the issue. It was alleged that Roger willingly entered Mark's home, which explained why there was no forced entry. During the meeting, Mark fatally shot Roger in the head while Donna, with their baby, was in the bedroom. Donna heard the gunshot and ran out of the room, leaving her baby on the bed. When she came out, Mark started beating her with a hammer. When Mark thought Donna and Roger were dead, he called 911. During the call, Roger Harrington can be heard moaning in the background. Mark then informed the dispatcher that their baby was crying, and he had to go, promising to call them right back. However, no baby can be heard at the back end of the call. The state argued that Mark needed to ensure that Roger was truly dead, leading to the second shot being fired into his head. Mark was found guilty of murder and was sentenced to life without parole. Later, Mark was charged with first-degree murder for hire, as he was alleged to have plotted to kill Deanne Schultz and a childhood friend who refused to post bail for him. Mark, however, claimed that he was merely scheming in an imaginary murder-for-hire plot, stating that it was not intended to be taken too seriously. Despite Mark's claims, he was ultimately convicted of solicitation of murder and sentenced to an additional 35 years in prison. After Mark was convicted of double murder and was sentenced to serve time in prison, Rebecca and her children were forced to distance themselves from him. In order to protect herself and her children, Rebecca decided to change their surname back to her maiden name, Simic. Rebecca believed that it could be beneficial for Bailey to meet Donna's family. She thought that they could provide her with valuable insights about Donna. One Memorial Day weekend, Bailey made the journey to Donna's hometown to meet the people who loved her. Bailey's encounter with Donna's family proved to be an eye-opening experience. She was amazed to see how much they still loved and cherished her, considering her a grandchild despite her absence. While Bailey was staying with Donna's family, it coincidentally happened to be her birthday. They decided to throw her a party to make up for all the birthdays she had missed over the years. The meeting with Donna's family had a profound impact on Bailey. It taught her about the power of love, the resilience of the human spirit, and the importance of family. Despite the distance that had been created through Mark's crimes, Donna's family's love for her remained strong. Bailey's birthday celebration also showcased the warmth and generosity of Donna's family, as they made an effort to make up for the birthdays she had missed.